Hi there, my name is Bruno Marx and I want to talk to you about your specific situation concerning the safety of your events. If you're the one responsible for event safety at your event, or if you are the organizer of an event and you know you have to do something about event safety and don't know what or where to start, then this is going to be great for you. I'm going to share with you the most important methods and strategies you need to know about event safety in this training workshop. I sent out a simple survey to find out exactly what your main concerns are. And you've given me amazing answers. I'm honestly overwhelmed at the amount of feedback you gave. And I'm very grateful for it because that feedback makes it possible for me to teach exactly what you need. One question came up constantly, and that's about responsibility. Actually, who is responsible for the safety of all people present? And that's what we'll be looking at in the first video. Just so you know, I'll be doing 3 videos that will answer your most important questions, and I'll keep these videos online so you can revisit them whenever you want. I know how busy everyone is, so take your time, watch them when you can. Now, I've been responsible for event safety for more than 30 years, working with thousands of event professionals, and the one thing they want is to be sure that their events run without major disaster. And they want to do that in the most effective way. They want their whole build to be on schedule. They want to be done on time for rehearsals. And they want their event to be a total success. When an accident happens, people get hurt and huge amounts of time are wasted. And then people start asking, who was in charge? Who caused this? Knock on wood, I've never had anyone seriously hurt at my events because I follow the exact same processes you'll see in these videos. And I've had severe storms, crowds of over 200,000 people, and huge fireworks that were definitely hazardous. It's all about how you prepare for these situations, and that makes all the difference. So here's what I want you to do. As we go through this workshop, I want you to think about how this applies to your specific situation because you're in the perfect spot to leverage these strategies. Okay, let's get ready to take lots of notes because we're going to roll right into the workshop. I'll be teaching you exactly how I approach event safety for an event. I've taught this process to many event professionals just like you, and they love it. Now let's start by looking at the most asked question, who is responsible for event safety? This is maybe the most important part to get right because everything else follows. Before we look at who is responsible, let's look at how responsibility is even defined. The exact definition of responsibility is someone who has control and authority over something or someone and a duty of care. The key words are control, authority, and duty of care. Let's take an example. A lighting technician, let's call him Rudy, is on your event build installing a lamp on a rig. Rudy has control over what he's doing, has been authorized to do it, and has the duty of care to do it well. Is Rudy responsible for making sure that the lamp won't fall down unexpectedly? He definitely is. And if the company he works for has taken their responsibility seriously, they've trained him, given him the proper tools, and made sure the lamp itself is in working order. Here, you already start to see that responsibility never rests on a single person alone. There are always many layers of responsibility. Let's look at the next layer of responsibility. An event organizer named Jane has asked Rudy's company to do the lighting. According to the definition of responsibility, Jane has control over which lighting company she engages, authority to say what, when, and where, and even how the service is to be delivered, and a duty of care to her clients to make sure the service is delivered to their expectations. Now, should one of the lighting company's lamps fall down and hurt someone, is Jane responsible for that happening? As my wife always says, it depends. It depends exactly on what Jane did to make sure that it didn't happen before the lighting company even got on site. How well did Jane exercise her control, authority, and duty of care? Did Jane properly vet the lighting supplier? Did she make sure the site was suitable for the build? If she did, then she cannot be held 100% responsible. In fact, if she followed the methods I will show you, she can't be held responsible at all. And let's look at yet another layer of responsibility. The client also has control, authority, and a duty of care. In our case, the client has engaged Jane's event management company to organize the event. What are the client's responsibilities? First, the client has control over the money and possibly over other resources used for the event. The client also has the control over who actually organizes the event. This is a very important fact to remember. A client must exercise their control of who they choose to work with very carefully, in a very responsible way. Just going for the cheapest bid isn't very responsible on the client side and will backfire should there be a lawsuit because someone got hurt or property was damaged. The client also has the authority to say yes or no to specific solutions that Jane and her suppliers have presented. This is an interesting situation because it's Jane's responsibility to suggest only solutions that are safe. Now, what if the client wants something done in an unsafe way? Again, it's Jane's responsibility to make the client aware of the fact that whatever it is they are suggesting is actually unsafe. Jane is carrying out her duty of care. So there is actually a lot of responsibility placed on Jane for the simple reason that Jane's client isn't knowledgeable enough to know what's safe and what isn't. What is the client's duty of care? Well, they have to deliver information in a timely manner. They should agree to a plan or a design and stick to that agreement. And we know that almost never happens. But there's no reason Jane can't make the client aware of what their duty of care is before the planning stage even begins. When someone gets hurt and the situation lands in front of a judge, they look very closely at the chain of responsibility and how well each individual in that chain fulfilled their obligations to control, exercise their authority, and carry out their duty of care. Very often, there's not much evidence other than eyewitness accounts, and that's always very subjective and can be easily manipulated. So how do you make sure you don't find yourself in a situation where eyewitness accounts are against you? The one surefire way is to have physical evidence that you've taken care of your responsibility. This evidence is proper documentation. And I can't go into the topic of creating proper event safety documentation in depth right now because that's enough for another complete course. I will, however, in this and the following videos give you templates and examples of proper documentation that will take care of your basic needs. Another surefire way to make sure you fulfilled your responsibility is working only with competent people. I see a lot of event professionals like yourself getting overwhelmed by the whole health and safety topic, and all they want to do is just get on with the planning and building of the event. So I show my students how to reduce the chance of anything happening by only working with competent employees, suppliers, and freelancers. Before we talk about how you find someone that's competent, let's define what competency is so that we're all on the same page. I always ask this question in my trainings, and the range of answers goes from, I don't know, to someone who has a certificate that proves they are trained, or a person that is experienced, or a person that can delegate, and so on. And they're all part of the correct answer, except of course for the, I don't know. Let's have a look at this picture. Would you say this guy is competent? I would say definitely not. And what does this tell you about his company? Would you call a supplier that works like that competent? I certainly wouldn't. The way I define competency is someone who has a high level of experience and formal training in relation to the scope and level of responsibility. Even that sounds kind of loose, because what is a high level of experience? And the truth is, you have to define that yourself for the individual position. So let me give you an example. When I need additional health and safety advisors on site, I have an exact definition of what I expect. This is how I define my health and safety advisors. So a senior health and safety advisor has more than 3 years experience in the Middle East event industry, or 5 years event-related experience in other regions. He has a formal training which is at least equivalent to a NIBOSH International Diploma, a bachelor's degree in health and safety related studies, or is a certified safety engineer. Their scope of work is supervising worksite safety during build, event, and derig. They're able to assess structural, electrical, and fire safety, as well as monitor crowd safety. Concerning their responsibility, well, one senior health and safety advisor is necessary for larger event builds where, due to size considerations, multiple health and safety advisors are necessary, especially in cases where multiple temporary structures, multiple generator installations, or where hazardous works such as digging, rigging, or hot works are carried out during the build. The senior health and safety advisor also monitors crowd behavior and the use of special effects during an event. The key thing to remember is, if only one of the 4 criteria is not adequate or even missing, that person or supplier is not competent. So now you have a better understanding of what a competent person even is. Now it's much easier for you to find one because you know exactly what you're looking for. And in the next training video, I'll be diving even deeper into how you can simplify the process of finding those competent suppliers or freelancers. We see responsibility being pushed from one side onto the other. The authorities, as well as venues, want a person named that can be held responsible. Your client holds you responsible, and it goes on and on. One of the main reasons for doing this is to reduce one's own amount of responsibility. The only way to stop this from happening is defining roles and responsibilities right from the beginning. First, you must define the roles and their responsibilities you'll need for the event. If you've already defined what competencies your suppliers or freelancers need, then you're halfway there. That's easily done by writing down each role and defining its responsibility. It's very important you define roles without having specific people in mind. You have to remain objective, otherwise you'll wind up shaping roles according to personal traits of individuals. Second, you create a document that says exactly which roles need to be fulfilled and who fulfills them. That's also called an organization chart or organigram. When you create this document, you'll see where you still need to delegate responsibility and who can do it. Because we only have limited time today, I can't go deeper right now, but I do go deeper into defining and dividing roles and responsibilities in the actual online course. So we've talked a lot about competency and responsibilities, and now you have 2 instruments in your hand to make sure your event runs smoothly right from the beginning. By making sure responsibilities are defined and delegated properly, you are 90% done with making sure your event will stay safe. You've made sure you have the right people in the right places doing the right things. Now you might be thinking, Bruno, I don't think this will work for me because I don't have the time to do all these things. And what I would say is, even if you implement only one small piece of what we've just learned in this training, you're way ahead of the rest out there. I know, because I see it all the time I'm on site. By now, you're getting an idea of how you can take care of your responsibility for event safety in the most effective way possible. And there's a lot more to come. Over the years, I've developed more easy-to-use methods that I'm going to share with you. These are time-tested and easy to implement because, let's face it, nobody wants to have more work on their plate. We all want our daily work to be easier so we can concentrate on what's really important, taking care of your clients' needs, pulling in more events, or maybe just having enough time for yourself and your loved ones. Right now, I want to know a little bit more about you. What does having an event build run smoothly without any accidents and then staging a safe event mean to you? Please scroll down below this video and tell me in the comments section. And of course, if you liked this video and found it useful, I would love if you clicked the like button and shared it with your friends. You know, a lot of people will tell you all this event safety stuff is so hard to do because they didn't have a clue how to do it. Well, they didn't have the methods I'm sharing with you. So please scroll down, leave a comment from me, and I'll see you in the next video.